Now, from Channel 4 San Diego, Jessica Chang, Jack Gates, Jeannie Rodden, Corey Voss, and Dennis Morgino. This is San Diego Insider Magazine.
For the people who didn't have a faith, their pain was definitely more. They had a heavier burden.
Last year's firestorms scarred our county and thousands of lives. The moment the fire threat was over, dozens of faith-based organizations reached out to help, 61 churches in the North County alone. But for many victims of the fire, faith became a test, an emotional one. In this half hour, we explore the role faith has played as people rebuild from the fires. Corey Voss starts out near Ramona with our first story on testing faith.
They called it the healing field. Each flag represented one home destroyed by the Witch Creek fire. 1,100 of them.
When you really think of the impact on each and every family and then all the people in a family, it's overwhelming.
Among those who came, the Strizver family. And when the healing field closed, they took one of the flags and planted it where their home once stood.
I kind of want to start crying about it, but
Janice Strizver, her husband and 2 boys, have lived on 9 acres above Highland Valley Road in a home they built 20 years ago. Last year, flames devoured every home in the neighborhood.
well, I am a Christian, and I felt I had a strong faith to begin with. And I'm sure I did something very normal of questioning why it was happening. Why us? You could say, what did we do? But that's not the answer. That's not the answer that I've gotten.
Today, the couple lives on their property in what they call the compound. They purchased the motorhome with insurance rental money, dug a barbecue pit, and created a mini garden. The shed they built houses donated appliances. A pair of damaged angels are among items Janice can't bear to throw away. It's here where they wait for progress.
We weren't surprised, but we were dismayed to find out that we had half of what we needed to rebuild our house. So we were 50% underinsured.
Rebuilding will cost $200 a square foot. They'll rely on content insurance.
We're going to have to take the majority of that money and use it to build our home. And we will not have the things we had.
The material things. Janice wonders why the fire melted a ceramic Christmas tree, but spared the top from their wedding cake. Using words, pictures, and her blog, she has shared their lives for the past year, when Nick turned 19 and a half.
We look for everything to celebrate.
And her son Sam.
He got married.
When her husband John reached a milestone.
60.
But mostly she tells of their loss and faith.
I keep reading the positive verses every morning for something uplifting. It usually carries me until the evening and then I get worn out. Keep praying for us.
The family saw God's presence in a surviving flower.
Wasn't that amazing?
And in nature. And cold nights under the stars, and something else.
The Lord continues to bless us with such wonderful people. We never would have known them if it were not for the loss of our home. God has a plan.
For weeks and months, volunteers worked tirelessly. And answers became a little more clear.
You know, evil things happen. We're in a fallen world. Fires happen. Things happen. I don't feel like we're being punished for anything. I don't feel like God did it to us or any of us.
Have you grown closer to God?
Yes. I don't think in my whole life that I did a devotion every single morning like I do now.
A devotion she uses to encourage others.
This person that I'm emailing to feels kind of lost.
And Janice started a swap and shop in a Ramona classroom. Fire victims can pick up donated items for free.
Something good is going to come out of this, and I have to trust that, and that people will come to faith through our tragedy.
And the Strisvers face a second crisis. John's prostate cancer is back after 10 years in remission.
My husband is faithful as well, and it's like we're ready for anything. God's will be done.
On a rural parcel of land, a family's faith has been tested by fire.
Till the day I die, I'm going to be learning it because it's an experience I'll share forever. The strength in my faith, God's faithfulness in getting us through it, it's something that I'll carry forever.
Corey, the thing that strikes me about that is that they didn't know they were 50% uninsured. Is that the case of a lot of people on that hillside and in that neighborhood who haven't rebuilt?
Yeah, it's scary. And it's a case of the insurance company not calling them through the years and them not calling the insurance company. In Rancho Bernardo, 400 homes, families affected, 40% are still in battles with their insurance companies, and only 15 people have moved back into their homes.
So it's really a cautionary tale, you know, go pull out that declaration page and figure out whether you're insured properly.
And that's what that family says, please learn from us.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So let's go back to the issue of faith. These people obviously very strong Christians. They were really helped out by a lot of people they didn't know. Was this mostly a faith-based reaction to this fire?
In many ways, the churches and different organizations jumped right in. They provided resources, counseling, money. But what I found,
the land, obviously.
Absolutely, they got dirty. They got
Right.
their hands dirty. What I found most interesting is they said, but we weren't there to preach. We weren't looking for new members or to convert anybody. We were there to love our neighbor.
That's great. Okay. Thanks, Corey. Still to come on Insider, more stories of faith. You'll meet a Buddhist leader who reached out to a man no one else would help after the fires. And we'll take a look at the more spiritual faith that pays tribute to nature and how that faith helped one family rebuild in a unique way. But first, we take you to the East County, where a deeply religious couple who ran a Bible camp struggles to make sense of it all. Stay with us. It's one of the most difficult tests of faith. Not only does your house go up in flames, but your center of worship also is destroyed. It was the Harris fire that got Steve and Elsie Campbell. They operated a Bible camp in Dulzura for 32 years until the firestorm came over the mountain. Jeannie Rodden has more on rebuilding a place to pray.
On this day, the Santa Ana winds eerily blow, just as strong and hot as they did right before the wildfires came. And when Steve and Elsie Campbell walk their 40 acres of land,
this is where our house used to be, right here.
they can't help remembering that fateful day a year ago.
Yeah, I'll never forget that day, Elsie. It started over that hill, coming this way.
That's pretty scary seeing those flames coming over that hill.
So when Steve gets in his golf cart to show us around Echo Mountain Bible Camp, the tour is more about what's not there than what is.
This bottom area here was the girls' bunkhouse. It was a girls' bunkhouse down in here. Right where you see that dark spot, we lost the tractor there. Right here was another house, and we lost that.
Out of 7 buildings on 40 acres,
right here used to be our meeting room.
There is precious little left. The fire spared this sign at the bottom of the driveway.
If you look under Elsie and the word Campbell, it's starting to melt. We thought we'd just leave that there as a reminder.
A reminder for them of what God gives and what God takes away.
We lost everything, lost the whole camp. That's our house.
The Campbells now live in a FEMA trailer. They are strong believers in the Christian faith, but some days they still ask the question, why?
You say, Lord, why? What do you got up your sleeve?
We know that there is a reason of the fire. We don't know what it is, and we're not going to question. We ask ourselves, but we're not going to ask God, why did you do this to us?
Steve and Elsie built and lived at the Echo Mountain Bible Camp for 32 years. Thousands of faith-based visitors stayed here for retreats through the decades. But the Campbells knew from the start that they couldn't afford fire insurance in such a high-risk area. So when the Harris fire hit,
I couldn't go to Fall Apart then because Steve had. And it was very, very it was hard for him, so I couldn't go to Part. And I was able to hold it together for quite a few days.
but the days turned into weeks, weeks into months, with no rebuilding in sight. They say their faith got them through.
There's nothing I can do to say, I want you to do this, Lord, or I want you to do that, Lord. The Lord's in charge.
How important is your faith to you?
That's all we've got. Without the Lord, and then with Steve, there is nothing.
Along with their faith, something else did survive on this property. Their outdoor chapel, their place to pray.
This is a nice quiet area to release your problems, your burdens, because it says whatever you do, do all to the glory of God, and that means everything.
Along with that piece of scripture carved in stone, Steve has another message that gets him through. This one, a song sent to him by a relative.
Many things about tomorrow I don't see. To understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand.
Boy, there's such a palpable sense of sadness there.
Yeah.
Bible camp's not open, right? I mean, they can't operate?
There's nothing there. The 7 buildings, all of them were destroyed. They have no money to rebuild. They say that someday they'd love to rebuild it, but right now there's nothing left.
So how are they getting by? What's their plan for going forward in the future? Who's helping them?
Well, FEMA, the federal government, has given them $28,000
Right.
to build a new house, but that's not enough to build a new house.
Yeah, a couple of rooms.
Yeah, so Salvation Army, Red Cross, some other groups have chipped in to actually build this house. They will get a new house. It will be about half the size of their old one. They're supposed to start construction in January, so they will have somewhere to live.
Okay, but the Bible camp's still on hold.
Bible camp is still on hold. They're in their 70s. You know, they're not sure what's
Right.
going to happen, but they say it's in God's hands.
Okay, thanks, Jeannie.
Sure.
If you'd like to make a donation to the Echo Mountain Bible Camp, you can call 619-468-3719. Up next, a story about faith.